Hey, what's up? It's me again. So, new, interesting turn of events. We qualified for nationals. Well, I kind of knew since August. That's when we qualified at Ogopogo. But yeah, we're going to nationals. So this is what training is gonna look like for the next couple of weeks, couple of months. It's about I think 8 weeks out or something like that. So I just wanted to give you an insight to what national training is going to look like, and also give you a little bit of insight on weightlifting stuff. Guys, I'm not going to lie, if you did want to get into weightlifting, you're not going to be good at it. And you're not actually good enough to get started into weightlifting, because people don't understand that it's a sport. So even though it's very similar to powerlifting, and I guess powerlifting is a sport, powerlifting is significantly easier to do as a sport than weightlifting is, because one, it's 3 lifts and they're compound lifts. And with weightlifting, it's 2 lifts, but the compound lifts in powerlifting are actually just fundamentals for weightlifting. So ignore the bench. Bench is kind of useless in weightlifting, but squat and deadlift are going to be your fundamentals for the snatch and the clean and jerk. And not only squat, you're going to have to learn how to front squat. You're going to have to learn how to overhead squat. And yeah, deadlifting, it's not going to be the same. If you lean back, you're essentially dead in weightlifting because the bar is going to fall behind you. And so you do need a little bit of a forward lean when you actually do the pulls, is what we call it. You can still do deadlifts. Deadlifts are going to be fine, but you do need a forward lean when you are going to be starting weightlifting, just because you have to keep your torso at an angle and upright. So there's so many factors that go into weightlifting. The barrier to entry is super high. So if you did want to get into weightlifting, set your expectations very low, because you probably don't have the strength to get started in weightlifting. There are training bars that are 5 kilos, I think, which are 10 pounds. And that's what a lot of people use to actually get into weightlifting, to learn how to, pull themselves under the bar or actually do an overhead accessory. And if you do have the strength, if you come from powerlifting, you're not going to have the mobility. You need a lot of ankle, you need a lot of knee, you need a lot of shoulder, and you need a lot of back mobility. So a lot of muscles that you're not going to know how to use will be incorporated into your training. So let's take, for example, this bullshit exercise that I was doing. These are called I can't even remember. I think it's a Klokov drill. So you're supposed to slide your feet out. You're supposed to push up against the bar and just drop in a snatch catch position. And if you jump up in the air, that's a negative lift. And what I mean by negative lift is it doesn't count, because it defeats the purpose of the drill. So slide your feet out while you're on your tippy toes. Try to catch with your whole foot. Drop under the bar and end in an overhead squatting position. So I couldn't even do 65 kilos, which is 140-ish pounds. I had to drop it down to 150 and 120 pounds. And just to get good intent behind my lift. So there are fundamentals in weightlifting. Powerlifting is just a fundamental of weightlifting, and if you're not athletic enough to get into weightlifting, then you stick to powerlifting. And I respect those guys. They do pull and squat and bench a lot of weight, but it's significantly less athletic than weightlifting. And I can say that because I know a pretty popular powerlifter, and her and I go back and forth about oh, my sport's cooler than yours. And she's like, how much do you actually lift? And she's like, I think your kilo weight class lift more than you. And I was like, yeah, but can they snatch more than me? Like, no. So weightlifting is a different beast, different sport. So Just talking about my training here, a primer before I actually get into snatching. And once we get into snatching, there's so many things that go into this one lift. As you can see here, I'm trying to be as tall as I can before dropping under the bar and catching in an overhead position. Mom is watching me, making sure that my technique is good with 65 kilos. If it's not, then she'll be like, what the fuck are you doing? You're dumb. I'm not actually dumb. I'm actually pretty smart. So I'm not going to negative self-talk. That's one thing that you can stop doing, because if you do get into weightlifting, you're going to have a lot of negative self-talk. You're going to be like, why the fuck can I lift this 10-pound bar up, and why doesn't it look good, and why is that guy that's only been doing it for like a month and a half so good? And honestly, he's probably been like lifting behind the scenes. So, and then he joined like your weightlifting gym. There's so many factors that get people into weightlifting, but at the end of the day, it's what you put into the sport. So you're not good enough to get into weightlifting. You're probably not going to be good enough to consider yourself good at weightlifting. But at the end of the day, it's like you're competing against yourself. So you should really try your hardest and just be a better person than what you were the day before. So that was 80 kilos. Now we're going up to 95 and we're doing triples. So triples just means 3 reps. I don't know how many sets I'm doing here, but I'm just making sure that my technique is good and that I'm flowing into the bar properly. 3 reps is a lot, especially for like 70% and above. Maybe you could survive at 70%, but 75%, 80%, that's where it starts to get really heavy. And as you can see, Mom's like arching her back and she's like, yeah, you are over pulling. So one way to correct that is to stand as vertical as you can. Get your arms under the bar, really pull yourself underneath that bar, and just sit in that nice overhead squat position. And if you want to know what that feels like, try an overhead squat with like a hockey stick or a lacrosse stick or some long stick where you're like, wow, how the fuck do I look like Chris? You don't, you gotta fucking try. So here we jump up to 100 kilos. I think we're doing like 3 reps, 4 sets. So this is set number 1. It is quite hard, but I had some good pre-workout before this training session. I don't even remember if I had stim workout or non-stim, but since this is an evening session, I probably had to non-stim, but since it's like 100 kilos, I probably did have stim. So depending on what you do, it is what it is. I don't remember if I slept or not, so we'll see how it goes. So another set here, really making sure that I'm vertical and not over pulling, and just hoping that Mom considers all these good lifts. This one wasn't so good. I think I undershot the pull there. That's why I stepped forward. So I think she gave me like a cue. I didn't really look at her too much, but I did correct here. I don't know if my back was super arched, but we're just trying to survive this last one. I think this is the last one. And so another pull and I drop it. So it wasn't good. Corrected, but couldn't correct properly. And Mom comes over, gives me some advice, and then I go hard again. So I think the bar was slipping, or at least the plates on the bar were slipping. Added some clips to make sure that I didn't fuck up my lift. And vertical, I think my mom's like, okay, not too bad. And the last one to finish this snatch session off. Looking pretty good. I did sit a little bit, so I sat too far back in my overhead catch position, but that's something that I'm slowly correcting. Clean and jerks. A lot of things go into clean and jerks. This is a little bit easier to get into since your grip is going to be the same as what you were doing in a deadlift. The only variations is your hips need to be a little bit higher. You do need a forward pitch in your torso. So you are going to feel like you are falling over the bar. Shoulders need to be aligned over the bar as well. So when you unhinge at your power position, you're able to unfold and actually catch in a vertical position. because if you overhump the bar or overextend, then you are going to be catching that clean real heavy. Like, it's going to crash on you, it's going to send you backwards, and it's not going to be a good time. So 120 kilos here. We're doing a double into a single jerk. So double clean, single jerk. Really trying to work on fatigue management. Good power clean there. Find my breath and go for a jerk, power jerk. And the variations between power jerk and split jerk are very different. Split jerk, you're opening on two different planes. Power jerk, you're going to be on the same plane. So one power clean, two power jerks there. Mom gives me some advice and she's like, it's okay. But lots of differences. We go back to two power cleans and one power jerk. And essentially, we're really trying to work on explosiveness with the power jerk, really making sure our arms are fully locked out and that we have full extension. So all of these are fundamentals, but that was a complex. So we did like a repetition of a lot, and that was pretty much it. Just different accessories formed into one activity, and that makes a complex. So all of the foundations lead up to the actual lift, and if you need to fix inconsistencies of the actual lift itself, then you do more accessories. And if your accessory sucks, then you go back to basics and back to foundations, which are like push press, squat, deadlift, single arm push press, overhead squats, presses. Like, there's so many things. And then you have mobility days and stuff like that. So I'm going to give you tips on if I didn't scare you away from weightlifting. Honestly, just know what you're getting into. If you did want to start weightlifting, you are going to need at least 3 technical days minimum. And that being said, you're going to have to fucking find out how to do these technical lifts properly. Because if you start building bad habits, then you're going to fucking suck at weightlifting. You need at least 3 strength days. So once you do have a decent enough technique, then you can really focus on strength. And strength will mask your technical issues. So I would say having strength is good. But if you have bad technique, then your strength isn't going to do shit. You're just not going to catch the bar properly. 2 mobility days. You need to work on your mobility. If you have terrible mobility, you're going to have a terrible time. So at least stretch after 2 days of a hybrid of technical and strength. Or if you're doing it, then split up your days properly. So do 1 technical, 1 strength, 1 technical, 1 strength, and then have 1 mobility day, and then sprinkle in some stretching after each session, and you'll have a complete program. Or you can have 3 technical days, hybrid to 3 strength days, and then you just have a full mobility day. So that makes up your 5 days of training, or 4 days of training. But having a plan is definitely going to help you out. So definitely find a training plan, have some intent behind your lift, stay disciplined, and if you want to shortcut it, just find a coach and focus on your lifts that way. Listen to your coach and trust in them. So you don't need to be great to start, but you need to start to be great. This is me being great. Anyways, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. If you need supplements, go check out Raw Nutrition. C-Bum made it. He's Canadian, but he sells it via U.S. suppliers. So either fence you're on, if you want to be Canadian, if you want to be American, or if you just want good gains, check out the link down below and use my promo code for 10% off your entire purchase. I will see you in the next one. I have a whole bunch of these videos to fucking cut and edit, but I hope you like this one. Let me know if you have any feedback. Leave them in the comments. I read all of the comments. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you get started with weightlifting, and I'll see you at Nationals. Bye.